Hey buddy, hope you're traveling well. Last week there was an accident in Rudraprayag. 14 people died and about 10 people were badly injured. For the ones who don't know Rudraprayag is sort of the base camp for both Badrinath and Kedarnath. See, when you start from Haridwar, whether you're going to Kedarnath or Badrinath, the route is same till Rudraprayag, and Rudraprayag is where you take a diversion either to Badrinath or Kedarnath. 2023 holds a record. It holds the record of the highest number of people traveling to Badrinath and Kedarnath. 58 lakhs registered for Char Dham. That includes Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri and Yamunotri. And if it is 58 lakhs who've registered, then the actual numbers would be much higher, maybe 60 or 65, and I won't be surprised even if it was 70 lakhs. Because if you don't have a e-yatra registration, they are not sending you back. They are like, try to register it now, and if you stand there stranded, they are like, okay, chalo chalo sort of an attitude. So the numbers are always higher than what the official numbers put. The majority of this 58 lakhs travel in a time period between mid-May to mid-June, and out of this 58 lakhs, about 40 lakhs people travel only to Badrinath and Kedarnath, and that too, and around 80% of this crowd travels only during that 1 month. So what happens when close to 1 lakh people are thrusted into a place that is hardly any larger than 3 square kilometers? See, Badrinath is roughly about 3 square kilometers and Kedarnath is even smaller. That is reason why you shouldn't be traveling to Badrinath or Kedarnath or to the Char Dham during this time. How many hotels can you have in a place that is hardly 3 square kilometers? See, as much as I know, Badrinath should be having like what? Around 150 hotels, and Kedarnath is even less. We are talking about a max of say 70 or 80 hotels. And let's take for an average, there are 20 rooms in each hotel. So how could close to 1 lakh people fit in to those hotels? See, that's the problem. 2 years back, I was in Badrinath. I was heading to Satopanta and Swargrohini. See, the biggest problem is nowadays, it is raining in May in Badrinath and Kedarnath. And, since most people had no idea of what crowd turns up there, I could see a lot of people sleeping on the street, on the road, because they couldn't get an accommodation. Most people would have thought that they could get an accommodation. They could just walk into a hotel and get an accommodation, but the scenario is not like that. You cannot walk in and all hotels would be overbooked already. See, that's the primary problem. And I saw people in rain on the streets, and both Badrinath and Kedarnath, they are at an altitude of over 10,000 feet, and in that cold all night, why would you want to do that? And because of this mad rush, people are willing to throw any amount for a hotel room. So, for example, if you go to Kedarnath between mid-May to mid-June, a room that is hardly worth 1,500 would be charged at somewhere between 10,000 to 12,000, because there are people willing to throw 15,000 for that room, and it's not like a double occupancy. You'll thank your stars if you get a room, and 5-7 people getting stuffed into that. And these are the problems. And one major problem is, see, if you are having your accommodation booked in GMVN, then at least you can have the guarantee that they are not going to overbook it. If it is in a private property, there is always a chance that they would take your booking and cancel the booking and giving it to the highest bidder, because there is so much demand for it. The problem is, everyone wants to go to Badrinath or Kedarnath these days, especially after Prime Minister Modi made a visit to Kedarnath, meditated in a cave. Before winning the elections in 2019, he went there, and from there is a leap jump in the tourists that end up in Badrinath and Kedarnath. And then comes the roads. See, the central government is planning to make all-weather roads for a few years now. See, in the last 10 years, the road conditions have become a lot better. There is no denying that. But will you be able to make all-weather roads in the Himalayas? Not likely. In fact, not at all. See, if you take Uttarakhand, especially where Badrinath, Kedarnath, where this Char Dham lies, they are all part of the Shivaliks, which is like, the Himalayas that are less than 10,000 feet. See, the Shivaliks, the mountains are not very strong, solid mountains like what you see in the Western Ghats. See, you don't have igneous rocks there or lava rocks which have a lot of iron and which will not break. The Himalayas are new form mountains, most of you know that, and most of the rock formations are like, calcium based limestone rocks surrounded by silt. So what happens is, whenever you have substantial rain, the whole thing comes down. The mountains don't slide without a reason. They slide because we are cutting to make roads. So what happens is, the more you cut to make wider roads, the more the mountain will slide. See, for example, when you go to Badrinath, there is this one place called Lambagad. So it is a known, shooting stone area, and it keeps sliding and sliding, and they couldn't do nothing. So now what they have done is, they have made a diversion to the other side of the mountain, and they have made a makeshift road. So, but the problem is, if they start drilling the mountain and if they start widening the roads beyond a level, again the entire mountain could collapse. See, that's the problem, and there is no way in those mountains you can fit in 100,000 people in a day, or even 50,000 people in a day. It is not regulated. That's the biggest problem, and no one has an idea of how many people are turning in every day. See, it's not like only certain number of people are allowed to get into the Char Dham route every year. It is not like that, and sometimes it could be 50,000 a day, sometimes it could be 10,000 a day, and sometimes it could be close to 100,000. And on that particular day when you are going, there is no guarantee what you would be facing. And let's say you take all the pain, you take all the risk and go there. For what? Obviously you want to have a darshan, right? That is very dicey in the peak season, mid-May to mid-June. And I know most of us plan a neck-to-neck itinerary, like, we don't have any backup days, so that, we have 1 or 2 days extra. So what happens is, if you have, like, let's say 50,000 people waiting for a darshan before you, what are the chances of you getting a darshan in a single day? A lot of these videos that you see on YouTube and other social media, it's like, heaven on earth, it's blissful, it's divine and all that. But there are thousands of people who are back from Badrinath without having a darshan, and during this peak season, you have all possibilities for that to happen, because as I told you, there is no regulation at all. So it brings us to the question, is Badrinath not safe at all? The question should not be whether Badrinath is safe or not. The question should be, when is Badrinath safe and when is Badrinath not safe? Obviously, after seeing this, you would know what happens between mid-May to mid-June. But once you cross mid-June, the monsoons arrive in Uttarakhand. So mid-June to July and almost late August, the monsoons are there. You will only see a fraction of the crowd there, but then you will have to do with landslides, roadblocks. Again, it becomes a dicey affair. But then once you cross late August and step into September, that's when the conditions become a lot better. See, in September, you will see people in Badrinath. There will be crowd on certain days, but not that mad crowd that you would witness in May, June. If you are planning a trip to Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri or Yamunotri, do it in September. See, somewhere in mid-September to early October, the shrines get closed. The window could be very small in like 15 days, but then you won't see that much crowd in that window, because generally nowadays, the shrines are open till early October. So you have a month, and there could be days in September where you could just walk into the shrine, have a darshan and come out in peace. So So I made this video not to scare anyone. The problem is people have no idea of the reality that is happening there. If you've been to Badrinath or Kedarnath during the peak season, please share your experiences in the comments. It would help other viewers. If it is the first time, I think I've earned your subscription with this one. So see you in another video. Until then, travel more, travel safe. See you, buddy.